Hello, everyone. Thanks for making the time to join us today. My name is Robert Pease. I'm the CMO here at Lead Method. The topic of today is around the hidden costs and lost opportunity in distributor-based businesses. Lead Method is uniquely positioned to understand this problem. We work with customers every day on it and to help them fix it. So we are a provider of distributor relationship management software, unique in the marketplace because of our focus on these types of businesses, as well as the verticals and the industry focus we have around industrial products companies and those that sell 50% or more through distributors and independent reps. It's a very different type of business model, and we believe that we are pretty uniquely positioned to help that, as opposed to some of the other alternatives out there like CRM systems, which are more designed to help a company that has an internal sales team, as opposed to many different external partners and how they go to market. The agenda for today is in three parts. The first will focus on the challenges around visibility and feedback between distributors and manufacturers. The second part, we're going to get into a little more of the quantification of cost and lost revenue opportunities. And those are going to fall into two buckets related to your marketing spend and your sort of money you're leaving on the table related to sales that you're not actually achieving. And then we're going to give you an action plan to fix it. And that's going to wrap all this up pretty nicely, but do want to spend a little bit of time framing the challenge in a little more detail. Distributors are interesting businesses because, especially if you sell through them, right? They're independent companies and they can sell many different products from many different providers. And so how you manage the communication, the collaboration, the feedback process, the sort of constant, almost nurturing you have to do to keep those relationships alive and productive is essential. And it can be very challenging because of different companies, different people, different time zones, different motivations. No one company controls the overall lead to revenue process. So if you are generating leads for your distributors and independent reps, again, that's where we focus. If you are doing that, right? You create these things and you essentially hand them off. And so these handoffs can create inefficiencies. They can create situations where stuff falls through the cracks and doesn't receive the follow-up that it needs to in one direction. And the other is the overall sort of feedback and progress related to either quality or closability is just not included in the calculation. And so there's this continual flow of sales leads without any type of feedback based on those. And then all of this is made much more complex because everybody has a different system. Everybody has a different workflow across these manufacturers and distributors. And again, when we begin to talk to customers, generally they have a CRM system and think they can manage this complexity with that system. That has not been the case. We think because of the sort of uniqueness of this, you need something that actually can span and reach your distributors and your independent reps without them having access to your CRM system and having you manage and control sort of what they're accessing, how they're accessing it. Not to mention the fact of having to essentially invest in purchasing licenses for them as part of your setup. We think there's a better way, and that's the way that we do it here at Lead Method. These handoffs that exist can create a black hole, and I've alluded to this previously, which is this sort of lack of information, feedback, communication. And so with limited to no visibility into the sales channel, you really have no idea what percentage of leads are being followed up on, and of those that are being followed up on, how timely is it? Again, this gets back to this different companies, different entities, different workflows. It's also very difficult to manage an integrated sales pipeline to create accurate sales projections, right? Very difficult to have a meaningful understanding of the plan if you don't know what's coming, and not having that visibility really puts you at a disadvantage as you obviously seek to hit your goals, but also plan for the future, and then understand overall production and performance across your various distributors and reps. And then the last piece here around the black hole is that your marketing spend, your lead generation programs, becomes very difficult to measure the ROI. You know you're generating leads, and that's a quantitative measure, but you don't have any idea what the conversion rate on those leads are, what kind of revenue you are generating based on those leads. And then the overall larger question here, which is what is the cost of customer acquisition? What are you spending per customer to get that customer in the door, or to get that revenue in the door? So those are very important pieces here, which are just extremely difficult to get in the current setup. And so that's what we here at Lead Method work with customers to do, is to bring the visibility and remove this sort of blind spot that exists in these companies. So what I want to do is I want to drop into a little more quantification and along two specific areas. One is the topic of wasted marketing spend. Again, this is a situation where you maybe are investing tremendous amounts of money in lead gen and promotion to drive sales leads and hand those off to your distributors, but no understanding of which programs work, which programs are expensive, which programs are efficient, right? And those you need to invest further in. And then again, just the overall larger marketing problem here, and this can exist inside companies where everybody's in the same four walls, which is sales leads receiving timely and proper follow-up. And again, this is really exacerbated in a situation where there's handoff between different companies. We'll dig into this in some detail. The other area we're going to talk to is the topic of lost revenue. And this isn't about necessarily generating more leads, although that certainly is part of the calculus here. This is about making the most of the existing lead flow and how not doing that is truly costing you. You've got business that can be booked coming through your lead flow today and being handed off to your your distributors and your reps, and you're just not achieving that revenue. And I think that's a common thing we're seeing across all of the people that we're talking to and we help. Then we can get into things around the weak or low conversion rates and how those can cost you. Low conversion rates can be driven by how you sell, how you follow up. It could be driven by it being the wrong person. It could be driven by it being someone who's not really qualified into the sales process where you believe they are. And then there's no systematic process for feedback here. How do distributors and reps tell you what's working and what's not? If you don't have that nailed, it can truly cost you. And so you'll see here as we get into this that these just sort of build on each other. And it can really be costly to your business, both in terms of wasted investment, in terms of marketing, but also lost revenue opportunity, which is money you're leaving on the table. So let's dig into wasted marketing spend a little bit. A couple data points to anchor us here. One, analyst firm Serious Decisions comes out with a data point that says 78% of sales leads receive no follow-up. Right, that's pretty high. But the point is, why are they not receiving follow-up? Is it that they're the wrong type, the wrong quality? There's no oversight. They're not viewed as ready to have sales engagement. There's a variety of things that go into this, but this is truly an area of serious inefficiency. And the 22% of the leads that are getting the follow-up, you can assume are the ones that are sales ready, with the others of these being generated and handed off and just sort of becoming stagnant. True waste of money. The other data point here is around how many companies actually calculate and manage around cost per lead, and this number is really low, less than 25% of companies based on a survey. And not knowing this variable really puts you at a disadvantage. You should have a bogey around this, whether that's $85 or $150. Somewhere in that range is a general range, which you'll find for B2B companies. But you got to manage to that, and you don't want to spend far north of your average deal size or your lifetime value of a customer to get a lead. And so having a discipline around that is important. So if you're going to look to quantify this, there's four key inputs that you should collect, right? One is the total number of distributors or reps that you have, the leads you share per month per distributor, the cost per lead that we've talked about before here, and the overall follow-up rate. So what percentage of those leads that you generate and you share with your distributors or reps are actually followed up on. So to bring this to life, I wanted to do an example. Again, we have our four inputs. Let's assume this is a company that has 50 distributors and that it shares 50 leads per month per distributor. The cost per lead is $85, and we'll go ahead and use the Serious Decisions data point here, and we'll say their follow-up rate is 20%. So this company this manufacturer in this example is spending north of $200,000 a month on lead generation, right? We talked about 50 distributors, each getting 50 leads, and that being $85 per lead. So a pretty healthy amount of spend. The lost leads in here, the ones that aren't being followed up on, are 2,000 leads, right? So that's taking 50 leads to 50 distributors a month, right? And multiplying that by this 80% no follow-up rate. 2,000 leads aren't getting the follow-up they deserve. So the wasted spend here is $170,000 per month for this manufacturer, and that breaks down to $3,400 per distributor per month. So what you'll see here is, and again, in your company, the situation may be different. You may have fewer or more distributors. You may share fewer or less leads. You may not have as high, or maybe you have a much higher cost per lead. But focusing in on these core drivers of value is a way to look at how efficient your marketing spend is as it relates to sharing leads with your distribution partners and your sales reps and your independent reps. So do this calculation. It's not super complex to do. We certainly are here to help you do this. We do this all the time for our customers to really help them understand the loss, if you will, right? The waste that's going on and the true potential here to do more with what's already being spent. The other area to talk about a little bit here is around lost revenue or lost revenue opportunity. So you'll see a data point to anchor this as well, which is companies that automate lead management see a 10% or greater revenue increase in 6 to 9 months. And I think the important thing here is to think about is that this is lost revenue that's present in your existing lead flow, right? Back to follow-up rates. And follow-up rates are not just necessarily people ignoring you, right? It could be poor quality, it could be wrong person, but if you don't have a timely and a systemic feedback process in place to get that information to adjust your marketing programs, then it just, again, builds on itself. Wasting money on marketing, not closing the deals you need to, losing revenue opportunity. So in this situation, we'll do another example. I want 4 key inputs to collect. One, back to the number of distributors, which we got in the previous example. The leads shared per month per distributor, which we got in the previous example. The lead to close conversion rate, so what percentage of the leads that you hand off actually become customers or become revenue. And then what's the overall average deal value is, right? So each transaction or each revenue event that happens, what's the average value of that? So again, we're going to take an example company, very similar in our previous example here, right? 50 distributors, they get 50 leads a month. Follow-up rate is 20%. We're going to assume that the lead to close conversion rate is around 25%, and that their average deal value is $2,000. So the potential here of deals per month is 625, right? So we'll take 50 distributors, 50 leads, and this 25% conversion rate. So that's the potential that exists per month, which is associated with a revenue potential of $1.25 million. This is taking those 625 possible deals and multiplying by the average deal value of $2,000. In this scenario, though, we're actually only closing 125 deals per month, right? Of the 625 possible, because of our low follow-up rates, which again can be driven by a variety of things, but we're not effectively closing the opportunities that are being generated and shared with our distributors, and this has real revenue impact, right? We're essentially, the opportunity cost here, or the lost revenue opportunity, is $1 million across 500 deals per month. Again, lots of variables here. You may have a situation where your follow-up rate is significantly higher. Great, then the numbers won't be as bad. But odds are you don't know what the follow-up rates are, what the quality is of the leads that you're generating. You don't know the conversion rate. It may be higher, it may be lower because of the quality that's being generated from what you're doing. So, again, a core takeaway out of this discussion is look at this situation at your company. Go get these data points and just do the quick math. And if you find yourself hung up or you need some guidance, we are here to help. We do this all the time for our customers. It is the way that we communicate the value of our platform. But this is where we see it, and we see immediate impact when Lead Method gets deployed. Again, both on the efficiency of marketing spend side as well as the revenue side. So now that we've framed the problem in that way, The real question is, what do you do about it? And I think this is a great visual, right? Sort of the crossroads of, do you just live with it, or do you actually do something to fix it? Well, here at Lead Method, we think there is a way to fix it that more than justifies the investment to fix, given the fact that there is this significant amount of wasted marketing spend and lost revenue opportunity going on every day. So we look at the situation around distributor engagement being a core driver here, and this is what we've been talking about a lot during this discussion, which is feedback, communication, collaboration. You're sharing leads with your distributors and reps. What are they doing with them? How do they need help? How can you enable their sales process? What's the feedback that they're giving you about the quality or the appropriateness, or how closable any of these opportunities are? If you don't have a distributor engagement approach, you're really going to be at a disadvantage, and that's core to what we do at Lead Method. Also around this is visibility and analytics, knowing what is actually going on, being able to quantify it, which gets to the fact of using data to drive the decision making, understanding which distributors are actually high performers versus those that aren't, those that may need some extra attention or extra help versus those that are up and running, how you are onboarding new distributors, how you're actually retaining and reducing churn in existing distribution partners is such an important component of this, which can all be driven by data. And at the core of all of this, all of these three things working in unison drives more revenue, which is really all we're trying to do to begin with. And it's what we're really laser focused on here at Lead Method, which is to be a piece of the formula to drive revenue, to strengthen your relationships with your distribution partners, to lock those in and get the most out of them. Again, we have yet to see a situation where marketing spend wasn't being wasted or revenue opportunities were not being maximized. And we would love to be able to talk to you about this and get these kind of results, right? These are actual customer results where we have generated 20% increases in revenue, right? Productivity savings around time, right? 40% time savings just in terms of taking some of the inefficiency out of the process. And the most important piece here beyond revenue is feedback and engagement, right? These numbers are really high as we look at it and look at our customer case studies because the starting point is so low. And with Lead Method in place, it really totally changes the game. So we encourage you to check Lead Method out. Here's some contact information. You can go to the website and learn a little bit more. Feel free to call us or just email me directly. So thank you everyone for the time today. I've enjoyed the conversation, and everyone have a great day.